Hello, good day. Welcome to the 14-day practical AI challenge where you stop guessing and you start prompting. I'm your host, Engineer Victory. Today is day 12 of this challenge. We've been here since day one, and from day one up to today, we've looked at interesting things and how to use AI basically for daily tasks, for important tasks, how to be proficient at AI, whether you are a professional in the financial industry, or maybe you are in the tech industry, or maybe you are an academic professional, maybe you're even a student and you're looking at how to use AI for your daily workflow and for whatever thing. The topics we've covered from day one right up to day 11 have covered a lot of things relating to that. Right now we're on day 12. We are looking at AI as a strategic partner, as a thinking partner, basically. And we're going to take an interesting deep dive, an interesting use case today, and it's going to be amazing, right? So let's begin. Now, our theme for today is decision intelligence and executive thinking. Decision intelligence and executive thinking with AI. So let's look at some of the things which you should be able to do at the end of the lesson today. So by the end of the lesson today, you should be able to use AI to analyze complex decisions. So let's say you want to do something, maybe you want to take a next decision, an important decision, and you want to be able to consider all the various aspects of that decision. Now you can bring that decision into AI, into an AI agent, look at it, from a holistic point of view, and then the AI agent is going to help you to identify the various aspects of that decision or the various aspects that are related to that particular scenario so that you can be best advised to make the right decision. The second thing which you should be able to do is you should be able to surface blind spots and second order effects. So blind spots that may be hidden in the scenario or may be hidden, maybe for example you want to take maybe a decision on whether you should release a product now or you should not release a product now, and you're trying to have this conversation with AI to better understand the entire scenario. You should be able to use AI to uncover blind spots that may have not been easily uncoverable when you initially came up with the idea to do whatever thing you want to do, right? And then you should be able to understand or uncover second order effects. Second order effects are the effects of a decision that are not directly obvious at face value, right? So for example, let's say you entering, or let's say anyhow, let me not try to use so many examples, but I believe you should understand what that is. We have the next thing you should be able to do is stress test strategies before execution. So you should be able to stress test your strategies to ensure that they do not buckle and fail under stressful situations, right? So that you can get the most optimal and the best result for what you're going in for. Then the next thing you should be able to do is think more like an executive, right? Don't think like somebody who is a theorist or how, like, what is the word? The word is kind of like the word is not really clear, but don't be somebody who is a pacifist. Be someone who is practical. Think like somebody who is execution minded, who is not just about thinking and about um, putting his mind on these decisions, but rather also looking at how he or she can execute it and bring it into action. Then finally, this is about upgrading decision quality. It's about helping you so you can basically make the decisions which you need to make, having the proper backing and a proper understanding of the implications of this decision, right? So you should be able to have a holistic view. Maybe for example you want to move maybe from where you are to a new place, or maybe you want to relocate maybe out of your current country to maybe a new country. What are the implications? What are the things which you need to consider? What are the blind spots? Some of these things, you know AI can help you streamline your research process so that you can understand the implications and you can be better prepared, before making that decision, or rather you can be better prepared while making that decision. Because let's say for example that's the only option you have on the table, right? You need to understand what are the secondary effects of that decision so you can shield yourself from every negative effect, and then also prepare yourself to be able to take advantage of the possibilities and the open doors that are now available to you because of a particular decision you're trying to make, right? Then now we are coming at the core reframe. So what are we looking at this core reframe? This is like the mindset shift or a change in your point of view for this particular lesson. So AI is powerful at pattern recognition, AI is powerful at scenario modeling, AI is powerful at identifying trade-offs, AI is powerful at highlighting risk, and AI is powerful at comparing options, right? Now, these are the elements and the traits of AI that make it a good thinking partner, that make it a good strategic partner when it comes to uncovering and looking at decisions from all angles and from all various implications, right? So these are elements that make AI a good how will I put it, that makes AI capable to serve in that role. Then we have what AI is not. AI is not a decision maker, it's not a replacement for judgment, and it's not responsible for consequences, right? So you need to be aware that if you should work with AI and then get something which is wrong or stupid because it did not, input the right prompt, AI is not going to be held responsible for those consequences or for the consequences of that action. Let's say you are looking at investing and then you do not provide your scenario completely, and then at the end of the day, you take the recommendation which you get from AI, or maybe you come up with a particular recommendation with a particular conclusion and then you implement it. If you have not done what you ought to do and that decision goes south, right, AI is not going to be responsible. You are going to be responsible because at the end of the day, you're the one who made the decision and who actually implemented it. So you have to be careful to ensure that you actually go through this process in the right way, and don't take AI as a decision maker, right, or as a replacement for good judgment. There have been times when I've worked with AI and AI has recommended things which I have turned down, right? So AI has told me maybe this is the better option, or maybe this is a good example. I turned it down. I said, no, this is not going to work, because at the end of the day, I'm the one who is going to execute that action. I'm the one who is going to present that information. And so if I have evaluated the result AI has given me and this result is not in line with my reality, then I have to reject it, no matter how good the result may seem to be or may appear to be, right? At the end of the day, my judgment still counts. Now, why most decisions are weak, right? So, most decisions are weak because of incomplete information. You're trying to take a decision, and then at the end of the day, the decision goes sour. The decision it may have been the best decision for you to have taken at that particular time, but because you did not have the complete information, the decision goes bad, right? Another reason is emotional bias. Emotional bias, especially, we can look at this especially when it comes to products. When you want to purchase products, and emotional bias is something which each and every one of us has, and in a way suffers from. But it's a key part, and it's a key very important role in human life basically. But there are times when we need to drop the emotional toga, drop the emotional mindset, and look at things from a practical standpoint and from a practical POV, because at the end of the day, although our emotions are valid, yet sometimes they do not make sense, or sometimes they do not ensure the best output. And then we have short-term thinking, right? Now, when you are about to make a decision and you're only looking at the short term, you don't look at the long-term implication, the long-term consequences, the possible outcomes that you can get from making that decision, right? You may make that decision, and then long time, maybe for example along the way, the decision fails, or you're not able to continue executing it. Maybe for example, you took a decision to enter into a contract with a particular organization or with a particular business entity in order for you to deliver a particular service or a particular product, maybe for a period of time, say for example a year. And there are some things which you did not consider when you were making the decision, and as a result of that, you were only able to fulfill that contract maybe for 3 months, maybe for 6 months. You will still be liable because you breached the contract, and at the end of the day, you are going to have to face the consequences for breaching that contract. That's the decision going sour because you did not identify the elements that could affect that decision. But we are going to look at how to mitigate that risk today. Then the final thing is lack of scenario analysis. You should be able to analyze the scenario, right? What if this happens? What if this does not happen? What if this goes as planned? What if this does not go as planned? What's going to happen basically? Now we are going to look at strategic planning framework. So our strategic planning framework for today is the strategy framework. Strategy framework, right? S stands for situation. R stands for T stands for target, R stands for risk, A stands for alternatives, T stands for trade-offs, E stands for effects, G stands for gaps, and then Y stands for your recommendation. We're going to take that one more time. S stands for situation, T for target, R for risk, A for alternatives, T for trade-off, E for effects, G for gaps, and then Y for your recommendation. So basically, this is a strategic planning framework which is quite important and which we're going to be using and working today. You can employ this framework when you're about to make a decision in order to be able to better understand the decision and the implications of that decision, so that now you can now understand whether also rather so you'll be better prepared to and better informed to decide whether this is going to be the best option or option B, right? Now, situation, describe your current state clearly. You should be able to describe your current state clearly without any problem. T, target. What outcomes are you trying to achieve? What are the outcomes you're trying to achieve with this particular thing you're trying to do? R, what are the risks? What could go wrong, right? A, what other paths exist? What other paths exist? T, what do you gain versus what do you sacrifice? And then we have E, what happens after this decision, right? Side effects, second order side effects. G, the gaps. What assumptions might be wrong? What assumptions might be wrong? What are the gaps in this decision, or that you may be focusing on, or basing your decisions on, that are wrong? And then why? What is the recommendation of the AI agent, right? Now we are going to look at our case study for today, or our use case. Our use case is a recent graduate looking to work and earn money, and he's asking, should I upskill and change my career by getting a certification in tech or going into entrepreneurship? Then he provides a little background. My undergraduate degree was in economics. So, for example, this could be the case of any person. It could be the case of any person who's currently watching the video right now, and you've concluded maybe your undergraduate degree, and you're now trying to move into the job market, get a job, and make money, and plan your life and live your life basically. And you're where you are currently, you don't seem to be getting a job, right? Or maybe getting what you think you need. So you're now looking at, should I purchase a career in tech by getting certification, or should I maybe go into entrepreneurship, right? Or maybe a third option could even be, should I remain in my current field of economics, and should I try to succeed in this field, right? Now we are going to use this particular case study, and we are going to use our framework, our strategy framework, and see how we can get the right results with our AI agent, which is going to be ChatGPT for today. Now we are moving to the live prompt breakthrough, or the live discussion walkthrough. Now let's get right into it. I'm gonna paint this framework basically, and then we're gonna have a simple conversation with the AI agent. This conversation is gonna be in order to help us uncover the various aspects of this decision which we're about to make. All right, so now I'm going to do, first of all, P, persona. Today you are you want to do the persona. Let's go back, and then we have to ask ourselves, what would be the best persona for AI to play for this particular use case. So we are going to take the persona of a strategic partner. Today you are playing the role of my strategic strategic thinking partner. Now that's our beginning. So today is playing the role of a strategic thinking partner. Now we are going to present our case. I have I have a dilemma and have and I'm supposed to make a decision. Here is the context. Then I'm going to paste the information or do that. I'm going to paste the information from, yeah, basically that's it. So let's look at that again. I have a dilemma and I'm supposed to make a decision. Here is the context. Now, oh, this is the wrong context. All right, 1 minute. Let me quickly copy that and then we're going to be a go basically. I thought I had said that. That was already said, but um, the way my system is set, other things kind of came up. All right, so let's do that again. Okay. Now here's the context. As a recent graduate looking to work and earn money, should I upskill and change my career by getting a certification in tech or going into entrepreneurship? Right. My undergraduate degree was in economics. Now, use the strategy framework to help me analyze these two options more effectively. Right? It says use the strategy framework to help me analyze these two options more effectively. Now I'm going to come over here and then I'm going to define the strategy framework. S for situation, comma, T for target, comma, we have S, T, R for risk, comma, we have S for situation, we have T for our target, we have R for risk, then we have A for alternatives, right? We have A for alternatives. We have again another T, and this T is for trade-offs. And then we have again the letter E in our framework model, and the E is for effects. We have G is for gaps, and then Y is your recommendation. Now I'm going to say let us tackle each aspect of the framework at a time for both decisions, right? Starting with S for situation. So basically, we're trying to break this down into a step-by-step workflow, and then so that we can understand what are the implications of everything. Now let's see. Perfect. We'll slow this down and treat it like a real decision memo, not motivational fluff, right? What you're only doing S right now. We're only doing S right now, not jumping ahead. We'll describe reality as it is, not what you wish it was. I would map out the situation for both parts, right? Now, the reason why we are breaking this down is so we can map out everything and then we are sure that what the AI understands is what the AI agent understands is the right thing. Now, let's just go through the answer and the response we've got and be sure that it actually represents our use case, accurately. Current situation snapshot. You're a recent economics graduate. You want income relatively soon. The real job market rewards technical plus analytical skills more than general degrees. You don't have strong technical credentials. You are competing with computer science graduates, self-taught tech workers, bootcamp graduates. Now, this is for the tech role. Certifications are faster than another degree. Tech field with economics overlap exists, for example, data analytics, business intelligence, financial technology, fintech, product analytics, AI data roles, economic reality. Entry level white collar jobs are oversaturated. Employers hire based on skill proof, not degree title. Remote global competition exists. Certifications can signal specialization quickly. Tech roles scale income faster than general office jobs. Time reality certification part 6 to 12 months to become employable if focused, and then you are trading time now for potential higher earnings later. Psychological situation. You're early in your career, so flexibility is high. No sunk cost trap yet. You can pivot without major reputation damage. That's good. Now, entrepreneurship, current situation snapshot. One day comes to entrepreneurship has no guaranteed paycheck. You don't have yet a proven business idea, a paying customer base, a capital cushion. Entrepreneurship rewards execution, sales ability, persistence, risk tolerance. Economic reality. Most early businesses fail or earn little at first. Income volatility is high. Cash flow is unpredictable. Entrepreneurship often takes longer to produce stable income than employment. Time reality. Could earn money immediately if freelancing. Service-based businesses, digital skills, but scalable business takes years, not months. Psychological situation, high stress tolerance required, requires self-direction, isolation, and uncertainty. Common. Identity tied to outcomes quickly. Core situation summary, you are in your early career, income seeking, skill, flexible, economically exposed at a pivot point where you need 2 to 3 years compound heavily. This is not a job decision, it is a trajectory decision. Before now, we move to T. I want to ask a one strategic clarification. What matters more right now? Fast stable income or long-term earning income? So we're going to say for the case of this person, what matters more right now is a fast stable income. Then we're just going to move on and then we look at the next part, which is our T, our target. Now, good, that shaping the lens. If fast stable income is a priority, then every part of the framework will be evaluated through which part gets reliable money in your pocket faster with the lowest probability of collapse. We'll now move. Target. The mistake most people make is they define targets emotionally, we define them operationally. A target must be measurable, right? Remember, we talked about SMART goals. So we have, if this part is chosen, the real target is not learn tech, get a certification, change career. The actual target is secure a stable entry level tech adjacent job within 6 to 12 months that pays consistent monthly income. More specifically, gain a marketable certification or skill, build proof of work portfolio, become employable in a defined niche, than a salaried or contract role with predictable income. This is structured pipeline. Training, credential, proof, job, salary. This education is just a tool. The target is employment. Now, this is important because it redefines the goal and then helps you to also, reshape your understanding of what you're looking at. And then you're now getting to understand more of, what it actually takes for you to choose either A or B, right? Let's go for entrepreneurship. Target. If this part is chosen, the target must become equally concrete. View the business that produce consistent monthly income equal to or greater than an entry level salary within 6 to 12 months. This is harder than it sounds. The target is not start a business, be your own boss, make money online. The real operational target is identify a product or a service, acquire paying customers, generate repeatable monthly revenue, and stabilize cash flow. Pipeline. Idea, market validation, sales, revenue, stability. Entrepreneurship only wins if the product if it produces predictable income. Otherwise, it fails your priority constraints, which is important. Key insight: both parts are being judged by the same scoreboard. How fast can this produce stable income? Not excitement, not passion, not status. Before I move to R, I want one more collaboration question. What is your financial runway right now? How many months can you survive without stable income? Do you have savings? Are you supported by family? Do you have debt pressure? So options: pick closest 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months. This determines how much risk is tolerable. Let's say um, zero to let's say 3 to 6 months, right? For this particular use case. Um, Now we are going to move to the risk. Now you're not in a survival panic mode, but you also don't have luxury time. This means your decision must optimize for speed, probability of success, not maximum upside, not dream scenarios, execution ready. Now we go to risk. We analyze failure modes, not hopes. What could realistically go wrong with each path? So upskill into tech, risk, training without employability. You finish a certification but still lack real world skills. Employers ignore your credentials without proof. That's valid. Oversaturation. Many people chase tech. Entry level competition is brutal. Generic certifications don't differentiate you. Time slippage. 6 months becomes 12 months, no income during training, runway shrinks, still market mismatch. You study what's trending, not what's hiring. That's also true. Motivational decay. Self-study requires discipline. Many people quit midway, right? Risk severity assessment. Medium risk, high controllability. Why controllable? Because you can choose an in-demand niche, build portfolio projects, network strategically, apply aggressively, and then freelance while learning. So this part has risk, but they are engineerable. You can actively reduce them. So this is basically helping you to uncover what are the risks associated with that particular decision. Now let's look at the risk associated with decision two. Income instability, no guaranteed paycheck, cash flow volatility, bills don't wait for product market fit. Idea failure, market does not care about your offer, demand assumption is wrong. Time to revenue delay, sales take longer than expected. Marketing learning curve, customers acquisition costs, right? You need to learn how to market. This is what marketing learning curve is all about. And then customer acquisition costs. You have to There's a cost involved in getting customers, either marketing or maybe through running ads, or whatever thing you need to do in order to gain customers. Maybe giving out discounts, giving out free samples of your products. Those are all costs. Psychological burnout, isolation, rejection, uncertainty, fatigue, financial depletion. Runway ends before stability. Forced into emergency job search, right? Risk severity assessment, high risk, low controllability, early stage. So basically, with this, the risk is higher, and then you don't really have so much, control over the entire system because market response isn't fully in your control. Timing is unpredictable. Entrepreneurship punishes short runways. Now, strategic reality check. You have 3 to 6 months runway. Entrepreneurship statistically requires 12 to 24 months of instability before stability. That's a structured mismatch, and that's quite true for many cases of entrepreneurship. Not impossible, but structurally hostile to your constraint. It actually also depends on, what is your product or service you're offering, and also how high in demand it currently is in the particular market you're offering that service in. Now, before we move to A alternatives, I want to ask: are you emotionally drawn towards entrepreneurship, or are you neutral and just evaluating your options? This matters because emotional bias often distort risk perception. I'm gonna say I am mildly interested in entrepreneurship, and then we're going to see how that affects our Our response, the response we get now, it says, "Good. Tells me that you're not trying to force a dream. You're eventually rationally. You're evaluating rationally, rather. That makes this a strategy problem, not an identity problem." Now we move to the alternatives. We started with S.T.R., now we are at A. This is where most people think in false binaries. You're not choosing tech versus entrepreneurship. That's too simplistic. We expand decision space. Now we are going deeper, basically. Alternative variant. Instead of one rigid route, there are multiple strategic versions. Full-time upskill sprints. Treat learning like a job, 6 to 8 hours a day, fast transitions, no income during training, high focus, high speed, part-time job plus upskill. Work any stable job, study evenings/weekends, slower transitions, preserve runways, lower stress. And then A3, alternative 3, freelance first tech path. So learn just enough to sell services, start earning while learning. Examples: data cleaning, dashboards, Excel automation, portfolio builds via real clients. This version blends income plus training, is realistic. Then we have option 2, alternative variants. Entrepreneurship path. Entrepreneurship isn't only startup. There are tiers. B1, high risk entrepreneurship, app/company, big idea, long runway needed, not aligned with your timeline. Service based entrepreneurship, freelancing, consulting, skills for cash, fastest path to money, which is also realistic. Hybrid employment plus side business, stable job for cash, business on the side, risk buffered experimentation. This is entrepreneurship with a safety net. Critical insight: the real alternatives are tech job pipeline, then from tech to freelance pipeline, then job plus upskill hybrid, and then job plus side business hustle. And then finally, we have pure entrepreneurship. You are not stuck with two options universe. Strategy lives in hybrid. Now, before we move to the trade off, answer this: are you willing to work temporarily, boring jobs for 6 to 12 months if it funds your transitions? I'm going to say yes, no problem. For someone who is looking for money, that should not be a problem for him or for her. Now we're looking at the trade-offs. So every decision is a sacrifice. Option 1, upskilling to tech, trade-offs. If you choose this path, you're trading short-term comfort for long-term earning power. So you sacrifice free time, social time, mental energy, immediate gratification. You accept structured grind, delayed payoffs, learning frustration, rejection during job searches. But in exchange, you gain marketable technical leverage, career compounding, incoming ceiling expansion, transferable skills. This is delayed reward strategy. Pay now and then stability later. Option 2, entrepreneurship trade-offs. If you choose this path, you are trading income predictability for autonomy and upside potential. You sacrifice stability, routine, psychological comfort, financial predictability. You accept income swings, pressure, uncertainty, trial and error. In exchange, you gain ownership, freedom, skill acquisition, unlimited upside theoretically. This is a volatility strategy. Freedom now, stability later. Hidden trade-offs most people miss: time allocation. If you go pure entrepreneurship, every hour spent experimenting is another hour not building employable skills, which is true. If you go pure certification, every hour studying is another hour not building business instincts. You can maximize both simultaneously. Energy is finite, which is true. Trade off reality check against your constraints. Your constraints are 6 months runway, 3 to 6 months runway, priority, fast stable income, mild entrepreneurial interest, willing to work a boring job, right? Given this, the trade off matrix follows income stability first, optional risk second. You don't eliminate entrepreneurship, you sequence it. Now, before we move to the effects, one calibration question: on a scale from 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with uncertainty? 1, I need predictability. 10, chaos is fine. I'm going to say I'm somewhere around 4 for this. And then see, you must not answer the questions before moving on. For example, let's say here at the level of entrepreneurship trade-offs, you could come and say, um, for example, you see it says you sacrifice stability, routine, psychological comfort, and financial predictability, right? And then you accept income. If you don't agree with any one of these, you can definitely come and let it know. You just highlight, you click on Ask ChatGPT, and then you move ahead, right? Or basically, you can stop and then inform it of, maybe a different POV, a different point of view you have, from its conclusion. Now, a 4 on 10 uncertainty tolerance means you can handle some risk, but prolonged instability will drain you. Entrepreneurship at early stage typically demands an 8 to 9 tolerance, so you must design a pathway that doesn't fight your psychology. Now we go to effects. This is about downstream consequences. Now, what happens in 6 months? What happens in 3 to 5 years if you want to commit to each path? Now, upskilling to tech effects, career effects. You enter a high leverage labor market. Skills compound year over year. Switching companies increase income. Remote global opportunities open. That's true. Financial effects, predictability salary or predictable salary, easier savings, easier investing, lower financial anxiety. Identity effects, you become a technical professional, you gain credibility, you build optionality. Entrepreneurship becomes easier later with skills plus money. Strategic effects, this path increases your future choices, it does not trap you. You can still start a business later with capital and expertise, right? This is a reversible decision. So that's strategically attractive. So these are the trade-offs, the effects rather, not the trade-offs. Let's look at the effects of entrepreneurship. High non-linear growth, either stagnation or breakout success, resume ambiguity which fails early. Financial effects, income swings, saving instability, stress amplification. Identity effects, strong resilience if successful, confidence boost or confidence erosion if repeated failure. This part narrows short-term options. By the way, if you feel that the language of the AI agent is coming off as too, for example, too advanced, you can ask it to reduce its language and make it to sound more simple, right? You can say, make your explanations from now on to be so simple that a 12-year-old can understand, right? Or to be so simple that a young child can understand, depending on your current situation or you know, your own current understanding or what you prefer. This path narrows short-term options, so if it fails and runway ends, you may be forced into emergency employment, underemployment, reactive decisions. There's a corner decision, not a strategic one. Key strategic insight. One path builds optionality, the other consumes runway. At your stage, optionality is gold. At your stage, optionality is gold. Not because entrepreneurship is bad, but because sequencing matters. Now we move to G. This is brutally honest. What's missing between you and success in each path? Now we are looking at the tech path. What are the gaps? A defined niche, technical portfolio, industry signaling, hiring network, interview readiness. These are the things which you lack for this particular use case. These are fixable skill gaps, not personal gaps or not personality gaps, not luck gaps. Training plus execution closes them. Entrepreneurship gaps. You will likely lack a validated business model, sales experience, customer pipeline, market insight, capital buffer, emotional tolerance for instability. These are structured gaps, not just skill gaps. They take time and failure to close. So, time you don't currently have is surplus. Now, I synthesize everything, not motivational, strategic. Now, let's look at the recommendation of the AI agent. It says primary path tech upskilling equals stable job. Secondary path entrepreneurship as a controlled side experiment. Sequence secure income engine, build skills, build savings, launch business from strength. No desperation. Now you are it gives this um now basically if you have not understood this recommendation, you can definitely ask it again. From our conversation so far, can you repeat your recommendation again? Use simpler, easy to understand words, right? Let's see what we are going to get with this. So it says the best move right now is to learn a tech skill and get a stable job first, then start entrepreneurship later on the side, and that's your main plan. Why? Because you want fast, stable income. You only have 3 to 6 months of financial cushion. You don't enjoy high uncertainty. A job gives you safety plus money plus breathing room. Skills gives you power and options later. Think of it like this: jobs first equals to foundation, business later equals to expansion. You're not killing your entrepreneurial future, you're building a stronger launch pad for it. If you try entrepreneurship now as your main path, you'll be gambling under pressure. That usually leads to rush decisions and stress. Alright, now it says which tech skill is the fastest bridge from economics to income. Now, from here we can already see the recommendation and it has helped us to basically delve into the two decisions and to help us identify which one is going to be the proper one for the particular case of this user. Now, this user can now go on to take this decision, if he has concluded that this decision is going to be the appropriate one for him, or he can decide that no, I'm still going to go into entrepreneurship. That's going to be what I want to do. I don't like going to into the tech field, right? So it just depends. Then from here now, the user can ask the AI agent to build a roadmap for him, for this current decision, right? Let's do that and then see what we are going to get. Now, it said based on your recommendation, draft a template roadmap on what I would have to do from the beginning. Let's say from the beginning to the very end, right? And then let's see what we are going to get with that prompt. Now it says absolutely, let's build a step-by-step roadmap that's easy to follow, realistic, and aligned with your goal of fast stable income while leaving room for entrepreneurship later. So we have prep and focus, set up clarity, mindset, and structure, decide your techniques, assess current skills, clear your schedule, set runway buffers, then to choose a technique and skill. It provides this one because these are tech related fields that are related to the background of the user, which is economics, right? Then phase two, skill building and certification. Become job ready in 3 months. Learn schedules, hands-on projects, certification. Then is now suggesting various homes or various platforms from where you can get the certification: Coursera, EDX, Google Data Analytics certificate, and so on. Job search plus prep, and then learn your first stable job, phase 4. Then now phase 5, phase 6 has so many phases. From here now you can ask it to move on to phase 1. Now basically, at this level you can ask it to expand this phase. For example, expand phase 0 so you can begin, right? Or you can basically, well, that would be the most appropriate thing to do. So expand phase 0 so I can begin. Now if I was to actually be the user here, this is likely going to be my next step: to expand phase 0 so that I can actually begin, right? And then have the AI agent help me walk through, deciding the tech niche, then assessing my current skills, clearing up my schedule, and doing all of that before moving to phase 2, right? So basically, that's it. We've seen how we can use this strategy framework to, employ AI as our strategic thinking partner so that we can be able to weed out weaknesses in our decisions, look at the implications of what we think we want to do, and then based on that, now take the right decisions. So basically, that's it for today. If you've loved today's video, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you have any question also, let me know, and then I'm going to see how to respond to those questions. If there's a need maybe for me to make a follow-up video to answer those questions. So with that, we've come to the end of day 12 with the 14-day practical AI challenge. See you tomorrow on day 13. Bye bye.